shook your device. Your feedback and suggestions help what?
You shook your device. Duh.
Shaking your device apparently allows you to sit. That's actually kind of good. You motherfucker!
It does not work with my phone.
Look.
Wait, what did it do?
So, it says, shake to send feedback. You shook your device. Exclamation mark. Your feedback and suggestions help us improve OneDrive. To disable the shake gesture, visit settings. Now, I kind of like the idea that you get fucking mad at it, and it's like, hey, tell us your opinion.
Yeah.
Why are you so mad?
Yeah. Oh, shit. What up, people? Welcome back to the sofa. We,
Dust sofa.
Dust Sofa. I think that's going to be the name of it now. It's Dust Sofa. Everything. We got quite a few interesting conversations going on today.
Hey, our crack producer behind the scenes here asked me the other day if we stole this couch from Barstool because they have a show where two guys sit in the corner to research thing and they call them the Couch Boys.
Oh.
I said no, we didn't steal it from the Couch Boys.
No, we came up with that bullshit on our own.
Yeah,
so
it was a lack of options.
I was just gonna say it's because we don't have chairs yet. I'm still working on those fucking thrones, man.
Yes.
We are going to have thrones. This shit's gonna happen. Man, so we got quite a few things. Well, that's not true. We have a couple of things that we want to talk about, but these conversations are gonna be relatively
They could get in
long.
depth. They could get in depth.
Yeah. We got some shit to say today. I think we wanted to kick it off with some big time plays.
So I wanted your live reaction because I don't know that you've seen these yet. The three phenomenal all-time catches from Oakland A's center fielder Denzel Clark.
Denzel Clark. I've been seeing a little bit about this. I did catch one. I think it was the one where he almost fell over the wall.
That one was
take a
probably
look
number
at
3
these.
on this list.
Let's take a look at these.
To the
Put them up on the dub board.
Dub board.
A different look here. He puts a swing on it to center field. Denzel Clark going back towards the wall.
Jesus.
So that one's good.
I mean, it is.
What do you rate that one at, Cole?
I don't know, those type of catches happen a lot, I feel like, but it was a good catch.
I give that a solid 6.
Yeah.
I was thinking 6.5.
Yeah, I give that a solid 6.
Yeah.
It's not something we haven't seen before, but it's a really athletic play.
Yeah. So it's going to show us a replay of it.
Yeah, he knew where it was going. That's the other part about this that's impressive. Is he knew what was up. He tracked it the whole
Now,
time.
this one is more impressive to me.
Oh, yeah. Ooh. This one is impressive to me because he held on to it,
Yeah.
and he knew he was going to take the shot.
Yeah.
He risked concussion and a possible broken wrist and separated
Collarbone?
shoulder, collarbone.
Yeah, I mean,
And his pitcher's just in disbelief.
I
you know
think
what?
anyone would be.
Yeah.
I give that a solid 8. I give that an 8 because of the effort.
And the backhand catch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The difficulty, but the commitment to the play. And you don't see a lot of that. Most
Yeah.
people would have backed off that because of the injury.
Now this one's my favorite.
This one to center field. Denzel Clark on the move back after he stepped.
My God.
Wow.
That's an all-time great catch.
Yeah, that one
is.
reminds me a lot, and you folks should look this one up at home if you haven't seen it. We can maybe throw it in for you. The Gary Matthews Jr. catch from the Rangers, probably about 8 or 10 years ago. To me, that one and Jim Edmonds had one that were all-time
Yeah.
greats, and this one's right up there with
This
those.
one's on the list. Yeah, this one I think goes a little bit beyond your rankings. I give that a 9.
Shit, that's a 10 out of 10 for me.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a great catch. I have that mentality. Nothing's ever a 10. But you gotta admit, that's pretty
if
fucking
we're going with
good.
that, nothing could be a 10.
9.5, 9.8.
9.8. Say 9.8, yeah.
Yeah. No, that's absolutely phenomenal. What an absolute athlete. What an absolute to your point earlier, back-to-back games. Right? This was across.
Those were all. It was either over 2 or maybe 3 games, but it was all the same week. And it just, dude's a freak athlete.
He's a freak athlete. That's
I
insane.
love to see it. I think baseball's better when Oakland's good. They're struggling a little bit right now, but they've got some young stars, including this kid.
Yeah.
And it's fun to watch.
Yeah, I love baseball. I love it when these guys are playing hard.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
And I wanted to start the show off with that because we got a lot of bitching and moaning to do
We are
today.
going to do some bitching today. Got some shit to say. So, I think, did you want to go into the new asshole or
you want to do Scumbag
nomination?
now? Okay. I thought we were going to get into some other stuff, but we can definitely do Scumbag now. So I don't know this cat's name, but this dumb motherfucker went to a University of Oklahoma football game with his grandparents in 2023. Okay? While there, back up a little bit. This guy lives in Oklahoma. His goal is to move to the Middle East and join ISIS.
That's his objective.
That is his
That's
goal.
His lifetime
But he
goal.
doesn't have the means to get there, so he thought, you know what I'll do instead? I will become a domestic terrorist. So his grandparents took him to an OU football game in 2023, and after walking around the stadium, he identified some vulnerable points and a lack of security. We've been to that stadium many times. Security is there, definitely, but it's not over the top. It's a lot tougher than it used to be pre 9/11 and shit like that, but it's certainly not over the top. So anyway, he saw some areas, and he reached out to someone who got him in contact with somebody to help him pull off this plan.
Yeah.
What he didn't know is the guy that he got in contact with was an undercover FBI agent.
That's amazing.
But yeah, he
couldn't happen to a better person.
He wanted to blow up OU, and when he realized that maybe he didn't have the means to take down the whole stadium, he then shifted gears and came up with a plan to plant bombs at Mardi Gras, right? Which we actually saw somebody do.
Yeah.
It wasn't necessarily Mardi Gras that they did it at, or no, was it?
Yeah, somebody did at Mardi Gras. Yeah.
And he had that plan, and then finally, just recently, they arrested this fuck. And when they arrested him, they found him with child pornography as well.
What a piece of shit.
Yeah, which makes sense to me that he had the child pornography because he's trying to join ISIS.
And that's kind of their thing.
He's an extremist Muslim at this point, right? Or an Islam extremist, right? Is the right way to say that.
Yeah.
And their prophet was into 13-year-old girls. I mean, that's just
That is actually legitimate.
Not trying to be
no, it's really
controversial in any way. That's just and that's what extremists of that.
You know what I've found lately is that facts are fucking controversial.
Yeah, facts hurt people's feelings, but yeah. So the fact that he had child pornography checks out.
So
but yeah, he's a fucking scumbag. I don't know if it says his name.
It does, and I actually like this. I'm gonna give the folks at home who are watching just a few seconds to guess what this jackass's name was. Cue the Jeopardy music. Yeah, okay, that's enough.
If you think your brain is smart, Jeopardy will prove you wrong.
Landon Kyle Swinford. Three of the whitest fucking names that you could possibly come up with. In fact, so white he has 3 names. Like, this is absolutely absurd. And this dude, and it says right here that his goal was to join ISIS, but his backup plan was to blow up the stadium.
Yeah.
What an absolute piece of shit.
Hits real close to home for me. I've got a daughter that attends OU.
We were going to games then.
We had tickets that year. My mom has season tickets. All my kids go to games. Hell, if he would have hit it at the right time, he could have taken out 2/3 of my family.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, that's just nutty to me. I don't understand what is happening in that brain. I have a brain that doesn't jive with the rest of the world. But when I think about that, I'm like, what is going on in that brain?
What's crazy to me too is this is the second terror plot that I know of that involves the Oklahoma football stadium.
That is actually
Memorial
true.
Football Stadium. I was at a game in, I think it was 2003 with my buddy Anthony, who is in the Navy now. We were at this game in 2003 against Kansas State, I want to say. Details it was a long ass time ago. Over 20 years ago, so I might not remember they played, but I know we're sitting in the stadium with great seats. It was my grandfather's old seats, so the 50-yard line tickets.
Yeah.
We're sitting there, and all of a sudden we hear a boom, and the ground vibrates. And this lady behind us goes, "That was the weirdest damn thunder I've ever heard." And my buddy looks at me and goes, "Dude, that was not thunder."
That was
and
not
I was like,
thunder.
I didn't think so either. Now, back then, at halftime, you were allowed to leave the stadium. Back then, they didn't serve alcohol in the stadium. They had stopped this practice for a minute after 9/11, and then they just opened it back up. So what would happen at halftime of these games is everybody would run out of the damn stadium, run across the street to the bar, chug as many beers as they could, and run back into the stadium for the second half, right? It was a really great tradition that I kind of miss, that being able to leave and come back in, and terrorism, you know. But anyway, that game, so at halftime we go to leave. You know, back then we were cigarette smokers. We'd go try to get a cigarette in and a couple beers in, and they wouldn't let us leave the stadium. And it wasn't even one of those things where like, hey, motherfucker, if you leave, you can't come back in. It was just like, no, nobody's leaving. And I was like, okay, that's weird. What it was is this guy, he was a student at OU, and then he also became an ISIS sympathizer. Or at the time it was Al-Qaeda or whatever, right? And he waited until about halfway through the first quarter, strapped a bunch of pipe bombs to his chest, and was headed to the stadium. And this fucking cocksucker
got it wrong.
Tripped and fell. No, I swear to God. He was on his way to the stadium. He decided to wait till after the game started so more people would be in the stadium. And by the grace of God, a couple blocks from the stadium, he tripped and fell. That's crazy. The only fatality was his. There were no even other injuries, because you've been to that town.
They were all
the entire goddamn town was in the game. Some cars got damaged. You know, I think some buildings got damaged.
Couldn't have happened.
But nobody hurt. Nobody other than this fuck, right? And so, but it is weird to me
like
that
what gets you there. You know, it's very interesting because I'm struggling with the world right now. It's hard to know which side to be on other than your own. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. Is militant Islamists are taking over Europe. That's just a fact.
It just
is happening.
And if you say that in Europe, you get arrested.
Right. Well, Germany said, no more. Now, their new, what's his name, prime minister or chancellor, whatever the fuck he is, he was like, we're going to build the strongest military. And, you know, that caught some attention. Well, the other day.
That reminds me of that Norm Macdonald bit.
Which one?
Oh, he went on Letterman one time. And this was after 9/11, you know, nothing going on with Germany at all. And he was doing a little stand-up bit, and he goes, you know, people say we got to be worried about Afghanistan and Pakistan, and throws out all this stuff. He goes, me, I worry about Germany. He goes, listen, I don't know if you know this or not, they've started wars with the entire world twice.
So I was watching some videos the other day, and everybody in the world is fucking marching about something right now. Well, they were marching against this perceived takeover, which I perceive it the same way.
It is a takeover.
And they were marching in the streets, and I was like, they were singing and chanting, and I was looking at that, and I heard the German, and I was like, God, I want to be on your side.
But it's
but it's like, man, you guys are scaring me. Please don't do this.
Were they doing that little high step?
Bro, just all in line, just like proud of themselves, chest out. And I was like, you guys gotta slow your roll a little bit.
Okay, Germany, we get what you're doing. Maybe you don't take the lead on this.
Yeah. Now, and here's the thing, right? I look at that and I'm like, well, we're setting shit on fire. We're setting our own communities on fire for this silly shit. But when they stand up and they all march in the same direction at the same time, it gives you fucking pause.
Hey, on that note, real quick, because I know right now with it being June, with the protests or riots or whatever going on, everybody's focused on either pride or you know, the immigration stuff, right? I did want to point out real quick, June is Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. And it's something like every 60 seconds, like 57 men commit suicide or something. I might have the numbers wrong. I've seen them a million times, but I don't remember.
I think it's every minute, it's 2 men.
2 men every minute. That's what I heard.
Okay. And
that's what I heard.
And that's because typically men keep it in, right? If you're a man and you're having a bad day, nobody wants to hear about that shit.
Nobody gives a shit.
You know what I mean? Like, as soon as you go to your wife or girlfriend, you complain that you're having whatever feelings, they look at you as less than. And
certainly your dad's.
And so I want to get rid of that stigma. If you're a man out there and you're having issues, you need somebody to talk to. Hell, direct message the daBudzEP Twitter account or TikTok account, because we'll talk you down.
Come talk to us. No, you're absolutely right. I've got a bracelet. I don't wear a lot of jewelry. I have a hard time wearing watches, but I've been keeping that on. It's Till Valhalla, the Till Valhalla project, and it's just got a simple placard on it that says, "Don't let the hard days win." And you really got to remember that, right? That we don't reach out to our bros enough. we feel and we've internalized this idea that nobody gives a shit. So why would I reach out? And they're dealing with their struggles. Why would I put my struggles on them? That's not how it should be. I agree with you. That stigma needs to be changed. On that note, did you see this lady that was straight run off of socials? Because this stupid heifer. What the fuck was she doing, man?
I did. Well, she was talking about it's not enough men that do it, or men ain't shit, and all that bullshit.
No. There was another one. This girl was like, it had just text on there, and it said, "When I'm told to take a moment of silence for men's health."
Oh, she was laughing.
And she was dancing to some loud ass music in the background.
I did see that one.
Yeah.
I saw that one, and then when it got taken down, the comments in that one, because somebody like stitched it or something, led me to another woman that was doing the same thing, and as she was dancing, she was chanting "men ain't shit" and all this other stuff.
Run these heifers off, man.
Yeah, fuck
seriously,
these bitches.
That's absolutely ridiculous. There's no reason you should take a moment like mental health awareness for any group and make it a joke like that. Like, there are limits to it. 2 men die every minute. Like, I mean, come on, that's absurd. And they're taking their own lives. I appreciate you bringing that up, because that was something that I wanted to bring up as well. And fuck that heifer.
Yeah, fuck that bitch. She actually could have been scumbag this week if the terror stuff hadn't happened.
You know what I'm learning is that we've got a lot of opportunity for scumbags.
A lot of scumbags
a lot
out there.
of scumbags out in the world
Scumbags
these
out there.
days. It's true, though. It's absolutely true. Well, are we going to add him to the scumbag list? Our terrorist?
We got a double scumbag this week. We got our
scumbag.
terrorist and that woman.
Terrorist and that woman. You know what?
We won't do a scumbag next week, but we got double this week.
Yeah. I like that. I like that. Terrorist.
We'll get the board updated.
And fucking men's health lady.
Yep.
Men's mental health lady.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Sometimes I wish we could go back to the world where we didn't.
Where women didn't speak? I mean, what?
No, I'm not going that far. They can be mad at you.
I'm a misogynist.
Everybody's a fucking misogynist in
Proud of
today's world. You know what? I think that's a good transition. Let's talk WNBA.
Okay.
Speaking of,
Brittany Griner could have been scumbag this week too.
Brittany
Really
Griner,
good transition, honestly.
right? Brittany Griner, who I feel I'm buying into the hype that she's a man. I think that that's a thing.
So to that point,
Yeah.
when she was detained in Russia or in Russian prison for that period of time, I do remember reading a report that they kept her in the men's prison.
Yeah, interesting.
You know, and that rumor about her being a dude has been out there since she was at Baylor.
Yeah, I've known. Oh, it went away. I had that quote pulled up, but fucking Facebook reloaded, so let me pull that back up. Yeah, look, I think that people have gotten very comfortable with the position they were in, and I don't know how many of you guys of the know people that are watching listen to or have read Who Moved My Cheese. This is a leadership book. This is a thing in business, but it basically tells you, hey, shit changes, and you need to start learning how to read the writing on the wall. When you see shit changing, don't just sit there, cross your fucking arms, and get upset about it. Change with the times, right? It's an absolutely crucial moment in my life. In fact, my dad gave me that a couple days before he threw me out of the house the first time. So, but it's a good read. But the point behind that is I think that there's a lot of ladies in the WNBA that have gotten comfortable with mediocrity.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And the screen has been, we want equal pay. And the legitimate rebuttal to that is you don't bring in enough money to pay you that much.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, they play half the games that the NBA plays. They
Right.
play on a smaller rim. They play with a smaller ball. Because, newsflash people, there's a difference biologically between males and females, right? The women can't quite jump as high. You don't see a lot of the above the rim game there, even with a smaller rim. And then, back to this, what this heifer said, she basically said, I don't remember the exact quote, I know you were pulling it up, or do you have it up here?
Yeah, it's up here right
Yeah,
now.
basically saying the WNBA games used to be a chill place. You could bring your laptop, nobody was sitting around you, you could get some work done, and she's annoyed that there's fans there now.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, exactly. But
and
now,
blamed it on racism.
Yeah, but now it's like there's large gatherings of people watching us from the stands, some of them yelling crazy shit about what they're seeing, putting unfair pressure on us to score. Go figure. Like we're there for their entertainment, and that's pretty gross. Time out. Let me stop you right there. You are here for their entertainment. That's the whole point.
That's why you get paid what you get paid, and the more of those
That's right.
large gatherings of people that come watch you play,
The more money.
the more you can fucking make.
Exactly. Now, and this is the thing, right? You have men literally, it's an interesting tie-in to the men's health. You have men literally killing themselves to try to make this money so that they can go out and deal with the same thing on a scale that you can't conceptualize, right? I mean, these dudes are literally trying to fight players from courtside in some of these games, right? And you want to make what I consider an absolutely tone-deaf comment. The whole thing is toxic. I saw a guy with his daughter in the crowd, both of them yelling. Couldn't hear what they were saying exactly, but it was either about my performance or some light racism. Definitely one of the two. You couldn't fucking hear them. You couldn't fucking hear them. And you're automatically assuming that there was racism involved in that?
I'm going to make an assumption and say that it was definitely about her performance.
His performance was way off. Now, here's the crazy thing. Let's think about that, right? Let's dig into that a minute. If that is a male playing in the WNBA, like, you should be...
Dominating.
Yeah! Like, how bad are you as a male player?
She also has come out in the past, and I forget which NBA player she picked. I think it was like DeMarcus Cousins or somebody, and said she could take him one-on-one. And all the NBA players laughed.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, it's absolutely absurd. So, this takes me to the next thing. I don't know why I am a hateful, racist asshole, because I started watching basketball right around the time, why can't I think of her name now? Holy shit.
Caitlin Clark?
Caitlin Clark, thank you.
So you started watching women's basketball?
Yeah, I started watching women's basketball right around the time Caitlin Clark started really making some noise in college. And I was like, oh, I want to see what this is all about. I want to learn. And to watch her play was like, man, this is what I feel when I watch a good game in men's basketball, right? I'm excited to watch her. Look at that, look at her footwork. Look at how she handles the ball. Look at the mental game, right? She's 3 steps ahead of everyone else on the court. I enjoyed seeing that. The comparisons to Steph Curry, I think, are well earned, right?
Yeah.
So you watch this and you're like, man, I want to be involved now. Well, the WNBA did an investigation. They didn't have to do an investigation. They gave credence to this bullshit, and they did an investigation on the Indiana Fever
fans.
Fans.
After Angel Reese claimed that it was racism when she tried to chase Caitlin Clark across the court to fight her.
Yeah.
And then said the fans were racist.
The fans were
And
racist.
this is after they did this investigation. Brittany Griner, who we were just talking about a moment ago, was caught on camera mouthing, "Fuck that white bitch."
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
is that
I
not
saw
racist?
that.
Anytime you point out somebody's skin color,
You're the
it
racist.
could be racist.
You're the fucking racist. And you're trying to gaslight me into believing that I am, because now I want to pay attention to somebody who's actually fun to fucking watch. The WNBA, and I've said this to you for several years, the reason I don't watch the WNBA is because it's all about fundamentals. Fundamentals in the game are important. But when that's all the game is, it's boring.
And their fundamentals aren't that great. I mean, every time I try to watch, I see missed layup after missed layup after missed layup. And to your point about Caitlin Clark, when she got hurt initially, it was right before her team was going to play the Chicago team, right?
Yeah.
And I forget their name, but that's the team that Angel Reese is
Sky,
on.
yeah.
Chicago Sky. I want to say Fire, but that's their soccer team.
Yeah.
Anyway, the Chicago Sky. And that's the team with Angel Reese. And when, because of that rivalry that the media's helped build up, and Angel's hatred towards Caitlin, and Caitlin just being good, that game is always must watch, right? Well, Caitlin was hurt. She wasn't playing in it. So the cheapest ticket for that game was $3 compared to when they played a week or two prior.
Yeah.
And you couldn't get a ticket for less than several hundred, right? And so that goes to show you who people are watching.
Yeah, 100%. Now, and it's put me in a very awkward position, because I don't like to agree with Stephen A. Austin.
Stephen A. Smith?
Or Smith, rather, yeah. I'm terrible with names right now.
You
Stephen
somehow
Austin.
combined Stephen F. Austin, the founder of Texas,
Yeah!
and Stephen A. Smith.
Stephen A. Smith. I don't know what happened there. I'm struggling with names today. Stephen Smith. I don't like to agree with him, but he's got the right take on this. She is the up and coming. She is the tide that rises that's lifting all boats right now. Man, the fact that the WNBA is really rallied around attacking Clark is just it's weird to me.
It is.
Why would you do this to yourself? All the things that you've been asking for are right at your fingertips, and you're gonna scuttle your own boat for what reason?
Compare it to the NBA, okay? So the NBA Finals in the 70s and early 80s was on fucking tape delay.
Yeah.
Right? They would play in the middle of the afternoon
Yeah.
in front of almost nobody. And then it would be broadcast later in the evening. It wasn't even on live television.
Yeah.
And then the NBA, in the same year, got Magic and Bird into the league.
Yeah.
Right? And that brought the league to a different atmosphere. Now all of a sudden people are paying attention. It's fun. That Lakers-Celtics rivalry got even more heated up than it already was. And then came along a guy named Michael Jordan, right? And the league did every goddamn thing they could to make sure Jordan was protected off the court, right? You didn't hear players talking shit on him too much. Hell, when he got busted gambling on fucking basketball, he retired and went and played baseball. No, he got suspended. Okay, he got suspended for a couple years, but they lied about what it was to protect him, protect the image. And it wasn't to protect him and to protect the image, it was to protect the league.
Yeah.
Right?
100%.
And it's so crazy to me that the WNBA finally has a marketable star.
Yeah.
And they treat her like shit. And to the point where, sorry to cut you off there,
No, you're
to the
good.
point where, so there's a more conservative sports outlet called Outkick, which I'm sure everybody's familiar with. They're all over the place. They ask the tough questions to the WNBA. You know, why do you let Brittany Griner get away with being racist? And then accuse the Indiana fans of racism where there was none.
Yeah.
Why does this happen? Why does this happen? They pulled their credentials and they don't allow Outkick reporters at WNBA.
Oh, I
games
did
anymore.
see that. I did see that. For asking legitimate questions.
Yes.
For asking legitimate questions. You know, I went through today and I was looking. So they are actively trying to. They're making it harder. I don't want to say they're trying to tank her, but they are actively making life harder on Caitlin Clark.
Yeah, that makes sense.
While simultaneously lifting up Britt Barty.
Yeah.
And I don't understand that. So I went through today and I was looking because I wanted to do some comparisons and I found a great one. But I was actively looking for moments when Angel Reese was either humble or was thoughtful or, you know, said something to try to defuse a situation. I couldn't find
No,
one.
she lights a fire.
Yeah.
And then when is asked about it, goes, I just want to talk about basketball. Is
Yeah.
that what you just?
Yeah, you started it. So once I didn't find anything there, I started looking for the comparisons, and I think there's a really good one out there. She's the WNBA's Dennis Rodman. She's loud, she's obnoxious, she rebounds, and she's a bruiser.
Except for Rodman, like 80% of Rodman's rebounds weren't from his own misses.
I'll grant you that.
You know.
I will grant you that. But you gotta admit the play style, the attitude.
Draymond, a lot of Draymond.
Yeah. Draymond can fucking shoot. Like.
Yeah, but he doesn't. That's not his role.
That's true.
When the Warriors are going good, that's not his role.
Yeah, that's very true.
He can make a layup.
So I went and looked at this, and where did it go? Yeah. Angel Reese versus Dennis Rodman. You got to give credit where credit is due. This is her talent. This is what she does well. Angel Reese stats per game: 13 points versus Dennis Rodman 7. Okay. She's at 12.9 rebounds per game, 13.1 for Dennis Rodman. 1.8 in assists, 1.8 in assists. 1.3 steals for Angel Reese, 0.7 for Rodman. 38% field goal percentage to Rodman's 52%.
Hey, real quick, 35% of Angel Reese's rebounds are on her own misses.
35%, that's absolutely insane. Talk about padding stats. So,
figured it'd be higher.
my point is, and Dennis Rodman is a Hall of Famer, but I think largely because of the teams he played on. But I think that there's a legitimate comparison there, not only in play style, but attitude off the court. right? She does everything except, dress crazy and color her hair. Like, I'm
No,
seriously...
she dresses crazy.
She,
She's more concerned with being a fashion model.
Yes.
I predict she won't be in the league in a couple of years. She'll be doing some sort of modeling or influence type thing. Another fun
Kim
Angel
Jong-un.
Reese stat, right? Angel Reese is shooting 31% on layups. This bitch misses fucking 69% of all layups she attempts.
It's just insane. And the league is like, she's the face. She's the face. Oh, dude, I read today. Oh shit, she won the BET. What was it called? Sports award. They have a sports award. Sports person of the year. And they gave it to Angel Reese over Clarissa Shields, who was a boxing star.
Mm.
And in the whole, like, in this lady that got beat hasn't said a lot about it. She's like, I thought it was about skill, but I guess I was wrong. And, it's just weird because Angel Reese is not only going in and, gutting women's basketball with this bullshit, but she's now getting into other sports. She's being placed on a higher pedestal than people who've been doing their sport. She's not even related to that sport. Like, she's not that good. I don't understand why everyone is trying to cram this down our throats. And it's been going on for years now. For absolute years. The NBA, or the WNBA has fucking lost the plot. And they have jumped the shark. I don't know why they are where they are, and I don't know why they doubled down on Angel Reese, but they really need to pivot here.
Hey, for your comparison a moment ago,
Yeah.
Dennis Rodman's career field goal percentage was 52.
Yeah, so
there
51.8.
isn't specific data on his layup percentage.
Oh yeah,
I wanted to see what he was shooting on layups. I guess they didn't track that back then.
Yeah, it was 50. Yeah. You're absolutely right.
It says 52.1 on here.
52.1. Yeah, that's what I've got here. You're right. So yeah, it's just now I'll give you this. Her free throw percentage is 73%.
That's not that good.
It's
not that good.
Dennis Rodman's was 58.
No, he was not a good shooter.
And that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
But I mean, she's supposed to be a scorer.
And she's not.
Like
She's just not.
What was Shaq's free throw percentage?
Ooh, that's a great question.
He's probably in the 50s as well, maybe low 60s.
52.7.
Okay.
52.7. So I mean, this is, to your point though. This is who she's on par with. This is who
On
she's
free
on.
throws.
No, on free throws.
Yeah. On free throws.
We're not talking about shooters. Shaq did his work at the board.
Yeah, but
Right?
Angel's a power forward, right?
Yeah, actually, I think so.
So what's Timmy D's career free throw percentage?
No, that's not even fair to Angel Reese. That's not even remotely fair to Angel Reese.
Or Giannis, or Jokic, or David Robinson.
She can't compare. She can't compare.
You know who she is? She's Will Perdue.
Will Perdue. Interesting. I want to see if anyone else has made that. Angel Reese.
Probably not.
Will.
Nobody else has probably thought about Will Perdue in 100 years.
Angel Reese and Will Perdue are both basketball players who had notable collegiate careers and transitioned to professional leagues, though in different eras and genders. Yeah, it doesn't look like anybody's written an article on that. Maybe we should.
We should look into that more.
Yeah, maybe we should look into that more. It's an interesting comparison. I know we kind of went off on a tangent there, but man, I am so, like, I don't know why you would make me feel like an asshole for watching your sport. Do you not want me to watch your sport? Like, somebody brought me in. Do you not want me there? And I mean, just say that.
I don't watch it. I mean, I see highlights, clips, this and
Well,
that.
I don't watch when Caitlin Clark isn't playing.
Yeah. I have watched a game here or there, but
Yeah.
it's not. Like, if there's any other sporting event on, like the other day, ESPN News turned into the Ocho.
Yeah.
And they had a slippery stairs competition.
Yeah.
I would watch that over the WNBA.
Yeah.
10 times more entertaining.
Yeah. It was great. It actually was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and we were talking about this earlier, the fact that when Clark got hurt, the viewership went down 50%. Yeah.
Your prediction is it'll go up more than 50% when she comes
I think
back,
it's
right?
gonna. I think it's gonna overcorrect when she comes back. Certainly, like you said, to your point, for her team, that's going to happen. But I do think that when you Indiana has really rallied around this "you're racist" bullshit,
Yeah.
right? And they've come out to show their support.
Indiana is a strong, rich basketball community, right?
Yeah.
The movie Hoosiers is about them. Pacers are in the finals right now. You know, when Clark's playing, the Fever are going good, and they love their basketball. You know, I mean, I guarantee it. If you ask, you know, IU fans, would they rather have a football national championship or a basketball one? They're going to take basketball 10 times out of 10.
Yeah.
And actually, when we get into that in a moment, we've got something that relates to that for you here in just a minute as well. But yeah, so to call them racist, that's bullshit.
It's such bullshit.
You know, these are the same fan base, right? That love their Pacers, that are walking around wearing Tyrese Halliburton shirts, but they're racist, right?
But they're racist. Yeah,
it's
the dumbest shit I've ever heard. And then for the league to come out, like, it's one thing for a player to make that comment, but for the league to come out and support such bullshit is absolutely appalling behavior to me. I've been so frustrated about this for a while now, and we just haven't had, you know, I don't know, it hasn't come up in my mind when we were on these shows, or when we're doing the recording, but this last week, just to see some of the articles and just to hear some of the commentary just really got under my fucking skin. Really got under my skin.
Yeah, it's annoying.
I'm not a goddamn racist because I'm watching basketball. Like, go fuck yourself. Alright, I'm over it. I'm over it now.
So, on that note, I wanted to get into this House versus NCAA settlement. I sent you a thing on it.
Let's see. I've got Is this the explaining Big Ten?
No. This is the House versus NCAA. So it's the new revenue sharing, new pay model for college athletes that goes into effect July 1st.
I'll go back and grab that real quick.
I jumped the order again because, well, I brought up a thing about Indiana, and this kind of pertains to it a little bit.
Fuck the order.
Yeah. So what this basically, right, is going to do is all the schools that have opted into it, and from what I've seen, every major school has, right? All of the SEC, Big Ten, ACC, Big 12, we're all in on this. It's creating a revenue sharing model, and it's going to take these NIL payments out of some of the collective's hands. Now, players will still be able to make their own NIL payments, do their own NIL contracts, and do commercials and this and this and this, right?
Yeah.
But what this is going to do is every school has a up to $20 million cap that they can pay their players now. Now, on paper, I think this is a great thing, but when you dig into it a little bit more...
So that's what I said. I thought on the surface it sounded
like
the right move.
Because that $20 million is across all sports, right? So, Indiana, great example. This last year, Indiana's football team was aided probably by a weak schedule, but made the playoffs, had the best year in program history.
Yeah.
Now you take this $20 million, Indiana's still a basketball school. That is still their main focus. So are they going to put more of that money to basketball? Kentucky kind of in the same boat.
Yeah.
Where it hurts the football program.
Yeah.
But what I also see happening, right, because never before have these universities paid their players, at least above board, right? And what I think will come of this is they now have this new expenditure, right? College is a business. I don't care what anybody says, college is a business.
Absolutely.
It's a business first. So this new expenditure is going to take away from profits.
Yeah.
It's gonna get them maybe in the red, right? It may cause them to lose money. And so what I think, my theory on what's going to happen is you're going to see these schools start to eliminate non-revenue sports, right?
Yeah.
So if you've got a kid going to school on a tennis scholarship or a wrestling scholarship, maybe even baseball in some places, you're going to start to see programs eliminate, or schools eliminate those programs. And that's what I don't want to see, right?
Yeah, that's an interesting point. I hadn't gone that far with the thought process.
Yeah.
I hadn't heard about the decision until you told me earlier. I think that's an interesting point because... That's a really interesting point because you have kids that want to play, what's the fucking thing with the stick and the goddamn ball in the net? Lacrosse, thank you. Right? I couldn't think of the fucking, I'm struggling for words today. Yeah. But no, I mean, there's people that want to play lacrosse. There's certain programs that support rugby and they want to play rugby.
The one I was
they should be able to do
was
so.
wrestling. right?
Wrestling is a great example.
You know, for example, Oklahoma has a wrestling program. They're one of the very few SEC schools that do.
Yeah.
So wrestling-wise, they're actually in a different conference. I think they're actually in the Big Ten when it comes to wrestling, right? And you're going to start to see now. So think about that, right? OU has to spend this extra money on football players, and then make no mistake about it. At most schools, that's who's going to get the bulk of the money,
Yeah.
right? So you look at somebody like OU, they're going to pay their football players. They're probably going to pay their softball players. Then it's going to be men's basketball. And then women's basketball get a little bit. And if there's anything left, it'll trickle down to these other athletes, right?
Yeah.
But when they go back and look at their books, and they're like, fuck, man. Wrestling, we got to travel to Iowa. We got to travel to Nebraska. We got to travel to Kent State. And it's not bringing us any money. It's not bringing us any notoriety. It's not getting us in the press. Schools are going to find it, they're going to decide not to keep these programs. That's my prediction.
So it's actually interesting while you were saying that, I found it fascinating the last time we went to the family day up at OU, they mentioned that they had an esports program.
Yeah.
I mean, I wonder how that impacts these things because they're part of the STEM
That
program.
is still something that could be eliminated. I don't know if esports falls under
I don't know.
the same stuff with other athletics.
I did look it up, and apparently over 1,100 schools
Yeah.
have an esports program. And like you said, I mean, depending on how they're getting their funding, I think it's interesting for esports because they can largely fund themselves through marketing.
Yeah. But if they're having to travel, I don't know.
So there's just a lot of activity out there that I had not thought about that. You're absolutely right. They're not. Someone's not getting money.
But yeah, with this new revenue sharing program, along with all the conference realignment that we've had, like look at West Virginia, right? West Virginia is in the Big 12, right? So they don't have any opponents near them. So it would not make sense from them from a financial standpoint to keep sending their lacrosse team to play Texas Tech in Lubbock. Right? It just financially it wouldn't make sense. And that's going to kill a lot of opportunities for a lot of young athletes.
Yeah.
Who, the NCAA used to have this commercial that was like 70% or 80% of athletes go pro in something other than sports or whatever it was, right?
Yeah, okay.
Well, so these guys that are going to get an education so they can go pro in something other than sports, that play lacrosse or wrestle or whatever, aren't going to have that opportunity to get those scholarships any longer.
Yeah.
Because even if maybe we don't defund those sports, they will lose scholarships because that's how the schools will make their money. Is tuitions will go up. It continues to go up every year.
Yeah. No, nothing else about their business is going to change.
No. If nothing else, the tickets to go to these events
are going to get
the
more.
tuition to send your kids to these schools is going to get astronomical, and it's going to price a lot of people out.
Yeah, that's unfortunate about, it used to be very much, I think you and I kind of grew up toward the tail end of this, where it was, you got to go get a degree. Like, it's important, right? You got to, that's how you survive in today's world. And that point was driven home. Now, you and I both wound up being relatively successful without it. Proof that you can, right? And I think that, in today's world, the trades are something that's making a comeback, right?
Yes.
Which I love to see, right? Blue-collar jobs need to be filled. But in that atmosphere where you're raising rates and people are starting to figure out that you're a fucking scam, and now you're not going to be able to deliver scholarships to a large swath of people because that cap's been put in play. I wonder how that impacts, their student base and how many people they're able to bring in. Because right now, I see these schools, they're floundering, right? They've been getting funding from the government in a lot of ways, that's being pulled away for various reasons. Funding has come through fundraisers and sports. But it was because those athletes were getting something in return. Now you're taking it away from them. I can't imagine that I would assume that some of the smaller schools will start failing in the next 10 years.
Yeah.
And not just because of this decision, but because of a series of decisions that they made, this being one of them.
Yeah, I agree. I 100% agree.
That's interesting. No, yeah, you mentioned that earlier, and like you said, my knee-jerk was, I like that. We need to find a way to regulate this a little better. But we had not gone to that level of detail. We're getting some. You all right over there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Our producer
can't sit
stood
for
up.
long.
Yeah, I got you. Our producer stood up and was like, "Is there a fire? what's going on?" But yeah. Well, that was an interesting conversation. I think it's going to be interesting to watch and see how that goes. Now, you were talking about, you sent an article, explaining the Big Ten SEC 16.
Yeah. So we're gonna get that. Before we get into that, real quick. So there are changes coming to the college football playoff, right? And we're gonna get into some proposed changes that'll probably take effect down the road. But this year, okay. So last year, in the 12-team playoff, the top 4 ranked conference champions got a first-round bye, right? And so what that caused was you had Oregon and Ohio State, who were number 1 and number 2 most of the year, number 2 and 3. They played twice during the season, once during the regular season, once in the Big Ten championship game. They split that, right? And then they ended up being 2 top-ranked teams, but from the same conference, had to play each other again in the second round of the playoffs.
Yeah.
Right, and it didn't make the bracket look like it should have.
Right.
So what they've done, starting with this year's playoff, it's still going to be a 12-teamer, still going to have 4 teams get a bye. But now it's going to be the top 4 ranked teams in the country that get a bye.
Okay.
So, for example, if Georgia wins the SEC, but everybody thinks Texas is the second best team in the country, Georgia and Texas will both get byes. Well, before you couldn't have 2 byes from the same conference, right? Same thing last year, Ohio State and Oregon both certainly deserved a first-round bye. Yeah. And only one could get it, right? So I like that change. Now, this thing, the proposed 16-team playoff, the SEC and the Big Ten came together and come up with a new playoff format. Now, everybody knows that those 2 conferences are the decision makers.
Yeah.
They're the 2 most successful and richest conferences. So if they want it, this is probably going to happen.
Yeah.
Now, what this will do is it's going to expand the playoffs to 16 teams. The SEC and the Big Ten automatically get 4 teams in each.
Yeah.
Then the ACC will get 2 automatic bids. The Big 12 will get 2, right? So that puts you at 12 of your 16 right there. And then one group of 5, one non-Power 5 conference winner will get in. So 1 team there. So now we're at 13.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got 3 at-larges, right?
Okay.
I think it fucks Notre Dame because all they can settle for is one of those 3 at-large bids, right? They can still get a bye or whatever, but that's neither here nor there because who cares about Notre Dame? But no,
Rudy,
Taryn,
man, Taryn and Rudy.
Yep. But I think it fucks Notre Dame. But also a couple things here. Last year, the SEC, and I didn't write this down, but correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, they got Georgia in, they got Texas in, and they got Tennessee in. Yes. Right? So they got 3 teams in. And there was conversation like, oh, should Alabama be in? Should Ole Miss be in? Should South Carolina had an argument, right? But realistically, that conference only deserved 3 bids.
No.
The Big 12 last year, Arizona State got in. There was not a second team in the Big 12 that deserved to be in the playoffs. The ACC did get 2 teams in with Clemson and SMU, but you could have made the argument that Clemson really didn't belong either.
Yeah.
So I don't. All that being said, there's going to be years where these conferences don't deserve the amount of automatic bids that they're going to get.
Yeah.
Now, part of this proposal, though, I do like. So, for example, for the SEC's 4 automatic bids, right? At the end of the season, the end of the regular season, they have their conference championship game. So the way this would work is the 2 teams playing in the conference championship game are both automatically in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Then the 3rd-ranked SEC team would play the 6th-ranked SEC team.
Good.
Winner of that game in the playoffs, and then 4 and 5 play winner in the playoffs. So it starts its own mini playoff in the conference at the end of the season to get in, like these play-in games, essentially, right? And so the Big Ten would do the same thing. And so you would have, conference championship game where you get, 4 or 5 games. Yeah. You would then also add in these other play-in games. So, from a television perspective, it's fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
Getting me more playoff teams. I like 16. I think that's a good number. And so I'm actually all for this. I
Okay.
came in saying no, and I
Yeah.
talked myself into it on the podcast.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, I'm all for it.
As you were talking, I was like, where's he going with this? Because,
I'm all for it. Now, again, there are years that the SEC and Big Ten would not deserve 4 seeds.
Right.
And the other thing is, too, right, you got those 3 automatic bids, or those 3 at-large bids, right, sitting there at the end. So you're going to pencil in Notre Dame for one of those most years. That leaves 2 more. Where the fuck you think those are going to come from? The SEC and Big Ten. So essentially, most years, those schools are going to get, those conferences are going to get
They're
5
going to
schools
be,
in.
yeah, they're going to be heavily favored. Yeah. Which, I mean, finances.
Yeah,
that
yeah,
makes sense,
absolutely,
right? That makes
absolutely.
sense for the business.
And look, we make no bones about it. We are homers on this goddamn podcast. We love our Sooners. We love our
Absolutely.
Cowboys. We love our Spurs. You know, we love our Rangers. When they do something stupid, we'll call them on it. But this format, if it were to come into play, would make Oklahoma's chances at making the playoffs that much better if the SEC is potentially getting 5 teams in and definitely getting 4 teams in. But the thought of finishing 6th in your conference, does that really deserve a playoff spot?
No.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, it does now, but yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, it's interesting because have you really earned that
Yeah.
for the sake of TV ratings? But, you know, just kind of listening to it, it sounds like it is kind of a step in the right direction, if
I think
anything.
so. I think so. Now, the traditionalists out there, you know, the old people, the olds, they will say this is devaluing the regular season because the college football regular season is the only sport that the regular season matters. If you lose one game, your whole season could be over.
Yeah.
I disagree. I think it makes the regular season that much more exciting.
Yeah.
Right? Because what will happen is your team potentially is in it longer into the year, right?
Right.
So where in
It
the
makes
past,
those later games mean more.
if you're Oklahoma or Texas and you lose that rivalry game and then slipped up somewhere else,
Right.
that 2 losses, you were done. Your season didn't matter anymore.
Yeah.
You know, and now it will. I think with that, what will also change is I think if that comes to fruition, then the SEC would move to a 9-game conference schedule, like every other conference has.
Yeah.
The SEC forever said, well, we don't want to go to 9 because our conference is too hard as it is. And I will actually tell you, no, it's not. And I'm going to bring up proof of that real quick.
Okay. You gonna send it?
Yeah, I can send it so we can throw it up on the board.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the olds. You know,
Fuck the olds.
one of these days we're gonna be the olds.
You're
Some
pretty
days
close.
we are the olds.
As would say, according to Coleman back there, we are the olds.
Well, Coleman's young and dumb.
So bring up the Texas Longhorns football schedule for me, and then scroll to the Oklahoma game. Or no, the game before Oklahoma, the Florida game.
Florida game. All right. You want me to click on that?
No. Just keep that up. Keep that up so people can see it. So this is Texas's conference schedule this year. Don't tell me that the fucking SEC is too tough, right? First conference game is at Florida. Now that might be a challenge. Florida's going to be a little bit better this year, right? Then the OU Texas game is, even when one team is bad, they could potentially win that game.
Yeah.
So, but then you got at Kentucky, Kentucky's trash. At Mississippi State, they won what, 2 games last year? They're trash. At home against Vandy, Vandy was up last year.
Vandy was, yeah.
But Vandy is still Vandy,
Right.
At Georgia, that's a tough game.
That's tough.
Arkansas's trash, and then you get A&M at home, where Texas actually owns A&M.
Who you've played most of your history,
Uh,
all of your history.
Yeah, where you actually dominate. That is not a tough 8-game stretch by any stretch of the imagination. Look, when you look at that 8 games to me, there's potentially two losses there for Texas: the Florida game and the Georgia game, only because the Florida game's on the road. I fully mark them as a win against OU, unfortunately. Even with the new revamped offense, and I say that where just knowing that rivalry, anything can happen. But
Yeah. And
But-
obviously we want anything to happen.
yeah.
But no, I think you're right. When you look at the matchups, you look at the
Like that's
teams
not
as they
that's
are
not
right
a tough
now.
schedule. Now, if you go to Oklahoma's schedule, it's a lot tougher, right? Because what it is the SEC is so damn big now, you can't play everybody, so they divide them up, and somehow Oklahoma got the short end of the stick there.
Let's look at it. Oh. I said Oklahoma University schedule, and it was like, oh, here's the academic schedule. No.
So yeah, so look.
Is this it here? Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, you look at this, non-conference, right? We got Illinois State, Michigan, Temple, and Kent State, right? So, and then we start off the conference schedule at home against Auburn. That's a win for OU.
Yep.
Then you got the Texas game. That's probably a loss. You got at South Carolina. That's a loss. At home against Ole Miss, I think they can win that game.
Tennessee.
At Tennessee, with Nico gone, and supposedly there was a lot of players that had his side. There's some distrust with Heupel there. That could be a win, but on paper, Tennessee should win that game. Going into Alabama, Oklahoma's going to lose that game. At Missouri, or at home against Mizzou, that should be a win, and then you end the season against Gus Meyer and LSU. That's probably a loss too. But this schedule, just the conference games, right?
Yeah.
Is incredibly more difficult than what Texas is playing, right?
Yeah.
And this isn't from a homer's perspective. This is just the fucking truth.
Yeah.
And it's what these super conferences have created, right? When you had the Big 12 with 10 teams in it, even when you had it with 12 teams in it, and you only played a couple from the north, and however they had it aligned, you still played more of your conference, and you played a tougher game.
Yeah.
Oklahoma's got 8 conference games, so only played half the fucking conference.
Yeah.
You know? And in their case, the teams that they're missing are the cupcakes, the Vandy's, the Mississippi States.
Yeah.
Right? And so it's inequality, right, in scheduling.
Yeah.
All that being said, I kind of still do like the super conferences.
Yeah. Yeah, look, I mean, inequality in the scheduling has always been a thing, whether it be luck of the draw or whether it be, scripted that way. I don't know whatever you believe. But there's always inequality in somebody's schedule. They're building it in now, right? And I think that may be a challenge for some folks. But you got to admit, I mean, I look at these games and I think all of the ones that we might lose are worth watching.
Yeah.
Right? So they're still attracting some fireworks with some of these games.
Absolutely. And as a matter of fact, I'll be paying close attention to this one.
Yeah.
Because anybody that knows me knows that I think Brent Venables is not the guy for OU. It was a bad hire. It set the program back. And the guy I want is the guy coaching South Carolina. Right? And he was a special teams assistant at OU. He's football in his blood. His dad is Frank Beamer. He's got that Beamer ball going. The great Frank Beamer, if you don't know, he coached Michael Vick at Virginia.
Got you.
And so
it's interesting about Venables because I didn't know a lot about him when he came in, so I couldn't make a decision. I couldn't speak intelligently on should he be the coach, but I can tell you that he shouldn't have gotten this next chance.
Yeah,
he shouldn't
the
be
way
coaching
they lost the
right
Missouri
now.
game last year.
No, absolutely. But they gave him a chance nonetheless.
Now he's got a new offensive coordinator, got a new quarterback, got a new running back, got a new offensive line. If the stars align right, I was actually going through it today. I think their ceiling is 8 wins. 8 wins this year. 8? And Vegas has them at 6.5 as the over-under, and I think their ceiling is 8 wins.
Okay.
Matter of fact, I would like to do that when we get a little closer to the NFL season. Look at some NFL over-under wins with you.
Yeah, let's do it.
Picks on that.
Yeah, absolutely. Another bit that we're going to do, I don't know if you can hear them or not, but my dogs are persistently irritating. We're going to start bringing them in on this, and we're going to let them make some picks during the NFL season. She hears me talking about it.
It just may not be live. We might have to record that first and cut it in.
Yeah. So, these dogs, man, I got 2 golden retrievers, and they are up on your lap. They are in your face. They'll be in the mic. So maybe one of these days we'll do a live with them and see if we can catch people's attention. But yeah, they're nuts. But we're gonna have them start doing some of the picks for us during the season, and we're gonna see which one of the 2 actually has a better season. Little bits like that.
Yeah.
Man, we're coming up into it too, right?
Oh, hey, we need a racing update with all this weather and what happened at the track. I know we've been building up. That first race was supposed to be here in about 3 days, right?
Yeah. So the 21st.
I thought it was on the 16th for some reason.
So the number one, I got the dates wrong.
Okay.
On the 16th.
Okay, so that
and
wasn't.
then I think I did say the 18th at one point as well. It was the 21st.
All along.
All along. But I can't go into too many of the details. I've been asked not to.
Oh, okay.
No. That's all right. I didn't mention that. But I can tell you that the track that these races was going to be at is they're going to have to postpone a lot of these races. So it's highly likely that I will not be racing on the 21st, which is unfortunate. It gives me more time to get the car ready, but man, I am so ready to get behind the wheel of this thing. Like, I put in so much time, so much effort. It's been a conversation for so long. And you talk about a thing, and you're like, I'm doing this. And at a certain point, you're like, man, all I'm doing is talking about it. Like, I'm not fucking doing it. So I'm really excited to get behind the wheel of this thing. But once I can give some more details, you'll understand why it's just not possible. The weather wreaked havoc across San Antonio over the last
Lots of flooding.
week.
I think we had some people lose their lives, unfortunately.
I think they said 4 people have lost their lives. For whatever reason, and I don't understand this, I never will. I was in the volunteer fire service as a young man, and the crazy thing is that people look at the water and they're like, yeah, I'm going to test that. Like, what the fuck are you doing? You have no idea how powerful this stuff is until it's too late and you're shitting yourself in the middle of a river.
Yeah, as you're getting rushed away.
Yeah. So if you are watching this and you are local or you're in an area that floods, don't just... They say this...
Turn around.
Don't drown. It's stupid, it's corny, but it's fucking true. Like, your car can float away in like 4 inches of water if it's moving fast enough. It's ridiculous. Be safe about it. Anyways, the rain really tore up a lot of San Antonio and Bexar County and the surrounding areas. So we'll be dealing with that. But I'll have more updates. We still intend to do something live out there. We still intend to do the giveaways, the shirts, and all of this good stuff. Which is this is another reason it's probably good. We got to get those shirts going.
Yeah, I've got a couple people that have actually volunteered to help with that.
Yeah.
And another thing I want to bring up real quick. A couple of listeners have reached out to me and would like to learn more about betting on the horses. So we're thinking about doing a little get-together out at Rotama, maybe late July. They're going to have some live quarter horse racing. They'll also be simulcasting thoroughbreds from other tracks. And so if you want to come out and join us, we can teach you a little horse racing math.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, this guy, he's been him and his dad have been betting on the ponies for quite some time.
Since I was born.
His dad has a horse, and I mean that's just the level of commitment to the sport. So if you want to learn something, I promise you will. Come out and join us for sure.
Learn how to drain your bank account.
Yeah. I mean, do it with the best of them.
Actually, I've had some good success teaching people the basics that went on to have a profitable day or two out there at the track. So
it'll be a fun day.
We're going to get that going soon too.
Yeah, it'll be a fun day. So we'll get more details out to you guys when we're going to be out there. We'll make sure that we send the invites accordingly. But look forward to seeing everybody at these events once we get them going.
Yep, and before we end this day, I really want to throw a shout out to, mentioned her earlier, Taryn, who we know. She's been checking out the podcast, and she's gotten her dad into it.
Yeah.
Her dad's watching. And so Taryn, Ken, thank you.
Appreciate
y'all
you.
a quick shout out, and just because you guys are watching, we'll take it easy on Notre Dame.
And just to close, I want to come back to this. Men's mental health awareness. This is serious. If you are watching, let this be a reminder. Reach out to your boys. Reach out to that guy who you always think he's good because he just gets on with life, right? Reach out to him. Just check up on him. Make sure that your boys are okay. We got to watch out for each other because I promise you the world's not.
Absolutely. With all that being said, daBudzEP1106122025. Parlay away.
Parlay away. I was waiting for that. You're always a parlay away.
Always a parlay away. All right, love you guys.
Appreciate you.